Morning, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about financial collapse. Before we get into that, I wanted to um, apologize. It's been a couple of days since I've been able to post. Um, One of my pet peeves, I guess, is being situationally aware of something I always focus on. So I've been watching the news, watching some of the things that are going on, checking out some of the YouTubes of folks that are supposedly in these areas and things. And there's a lot of stuff going on. If you're not staying situationally aware, I strongly recommend that you do so. Um, a lot of stuff is happening. We've got the immigrant caravan down on the border. We've got the wildfires and the high-speed rail going on in California. Um, we've got random shootings in different places. There's just so many things that are going on. We got snowstorms shutting down the airports and things, transportation hubs in the Midwest. Um, a lot of stuff is happening. A lot of stuff, a lot of conspiracy theory things going on. I'm not going to talk about those. There are plenty of YouTubes that can talk about that stuff, but I do want to talk about this financial collapse stuff because it seems to be popping up more and more in the news. A lot of folks, a lot of financial people are talking about it. There's a lot of supposedly indicators. Um, in my opinion, if we get flooded with these immigrants, um, there will definitely be a collapse of some kind because the system in America will not be able to support that amount of people for any length of time. Um, I hate to say it. Before I do, I want people to know I'm not against immigration to the United States. Um, my wife is from Germany. She became a citizen. So the process is there. The process does work. And there's a right way to do things and a wrong way. And what they are doing is wrong. Okay. Um, I'm not inhuman. I feel for these people. I've been in Honduras. I've been in most of the Central America countries. Um, so I've seen some things. There's a lot of poverty and stuff down there. Um, Now it's been a while since I've been there, but I've never experienced some of these gang activities that they talked about. Um, there was other folks that I had to contend with, but um, the fact the fact that this is all happening now is, I think, I think it's a key time or a key point in time. So I think there is some stuff that's happening that's culminating in this event. Um, but this financial collapse thing, I think there's something to it, and I think it's something that you need to really seriously think about. Um, if you are not ready for this, it's going to catch you by surprise. And if it catches you by surprise, um, you're going to be in trouble, um, point blank. So I wanted to discuss. I've done a couple of blog articles on this, and I'm going to refer to some of the things that I talk about in it. I will put these links to these weblogs in the comment section underneath this video. I ask you to seriously think about being ready and having a plan. As we've talked about, a plan is not something that's in your head. It is a written, living document. Okay, this is something that you need to have. And if there's anyone that you care about, they need to know what's going on and they need to have this written plan, because if something happens and you are the only one that knows what the plan is, then something happens to you, they're out of luck. Okay, so really you need to seriously think about this and you need to plan for this. Now, um, as I've said, the first thing that you need to do in any emergency situation is to have a plan, and that plan should include who's going to do what, where they're going to go, what's going to happen. And it also needs to include the skills that you're going to need, um, as well as the resources that you're going to need. Okay. Um, the next thing is you need to maintain situational awareness. Okay. Like I said, I haven't been on because I've been trying to keep up or keep abreast of all the different things going on. I've been watching a lot of different things. Um, I think there's some validity into a lot of this stuff. So it's something that you really seriously need to think about. Okay. Um, as with most emergencies, you need to focus on your food, water, and shelter. Those are the three first primary things. Um, you also need to have a backup because, like, for example, with the wildfire, a lot of the people talking in those videos that they interviewed after the wildfires is most of them didn't have a chance to really grab anything. Okay. That's where having your plan, having the resources identified, having the skills identified, and having that bag that we talk about, and you can call what you want, bug out bag, emergency bag, go bag, whatever you want to call it, your happy bag. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. In that needs to be specific sets of items and things we've talked about. Um, this is critical because in the case like with this wildfire, these folks only had a few minutes to grab whatever they could and get out of Dodge, okay? Because the fire was fast. It basically overwhelmed pretty much everything out there. And if you look at the map that shows the areas that have been burned, I mean, there were large swaths of land that were basically just engulfed. So having everything that you need in one location is going to be critical to your survival and the survival of those that you love and care about. Okay, so really seriously consider getting these bags. If you need an idea of what needs to go in these bags or things that should be in these bags, contact us, Guy at Great Living Sources. I will be happy to send you a list of items that should be in this bag. I will tell you specific types of things or brand names. That's up to you. Whatever it is, the bag that you need or the bag that you get to put all this stuff in should be something that's not going to fall apart in a couple of days. Okay. The other thing is that if you have children, especially younger children, I have a list of things to put in a bag for them so that they can be also part of this rehearsal. But it also gives them things to do while you're in the downtime because, having been deployed to a lot of different places, in the Army, we call it HUA, hurry up and wait. So that's going to happen here. You're going to have to get out of a place in a hurry, and then you're going to have to wait in some place. Okay? Kids are going to get bored. Kids are wanting to do things. They're going to want to get into stuff. This bag has activities and things for them to do. So make sure that you consider your kids. Also consider your pets. Okay? If you have a pet that's going to go with you or that you're concerned about, you might consider having some kind of little bag that is just specifically for them, things that they can play with and stuff, leashes, that kind of stuff. You need to learn the basic skills of how to do things, how to start fires. There's another blog post. I will put the link in the box below the video. Some basic skills that you need to know which is all part of the plan. You need to identify those, figure out which ones they are, and then you need to start learning those specific skills. Part of what you should also have is some kind of a skill lab, or a library that has different reference books. I have a couple of books that are on plants and stuff, those that are edible, those that are good for medical purposes. You might consider having some of that kind of stuff in there as well. When something like this happens, you don't know what you're going to run into. You don't know how long it's going to last. Hopefully nothing happens, but the way things are going, something has got to break. I don't know what, I don't know how else to explain it. Something is going to give. And when it does, there are bad things going to happen. I'm almost positive that that's going to happen. Not trying to scare you. Anybody that's ever watched or listened to any of my stuff, I'm not about fear. Fear is what's going to make you do stupid things, make you do mistakes. Fear will get you killed. But I do want you to become aware of what's going on. I want you to have a plan, create a plan. Whether you have us to help you or you do it yourself, it doesn't matter to me. The point is, have a written plan, rehearse that plan, and identify the skills and resources that you need to survive, and you and your family to survive. You need to evaluate your current location. That goes into what we talk about, we call site selection and site evaluation. You need to find a place of safety and shelter. California, that was a huge wildfire. So, a big chunk of California was engulfed in flames or burned in flames. So, that is a distinct possibility. The good thing, if there is a good thing about fire, typically once a fire such as what's California's experienced, it's going to take a while before that stuff will grow back and become a problem again. But there are a lot of other places in the United States and in the rest of the world where wildfires have or are occurring. Greece just had another big one a while back. So, wildfires are something that you cannot beat a wildfire. You cannot beat a flood. There are things that you can potentially mitigate or do to help prevent a large scale stuff, but in the end, fire and flood are going to win. They're basically going to just take over everything. So during the time that those things are present, there's not a lot you can do except get out of the way. And if your place of shelter, your home, is within those regions, odds are you're not going to be able to go back, especially if it's a wildfire. Now, I know that there have been a couple of people that I've heard on YouTube's and the news and stuff that say that, their house didn't get touched, but there are very few. Most of the images and stuff that I've seen of these areas that were burnt, there is absolutely nothing left. The houses are down to the foundations. So it's going to be a good while before any of these folks that have been in these fires can get back to their homes, if ever. There's some rumor, it's military term we call rumor intelligence, but basically there's some rumors that say that there's the potential that those houses will not be rebuilt. So for those folks that have been touched by this fire, it is the end of the world as they know it. So or they're potentially the end of the world as they know it. So there's a lot of things that's happening that makes me feel that, this is a crucial time to get ready. You're either going to be ready or you're not. And if you're not, the odds for your survival are drastically reduced. You think the odds are bad trying to win the lottery. Um, I think they're better than your odds of trying to survive something such as this catastrophic type of an event if you're not ready for it. Okay. The select an alternate site. This is the site selection. This is where you evaluate various locations to find a site that's suitable for the needs that you have. If you have to leave where you are and find some place, it needs to be a place that is far enough away that you are not that site is not also impacted by the event that has overcame your primary shelter. For example, this California fire, you don't want to be like within the next block or two, or maybe even not even in the same city. So, you need to think this through, and you need to think about where these are. Now, site selection is a methodical, logical method of selecting a location based on facts and based on your requirements. Okay, this is something that we also provide, but whether you do it or you have somebody else do it or you have us do it, you need to have an alternate site that will help to keep you safe and provide you the things that you need to make it through these types of situations. The other thing that you need to do is you need to stay balanced. You need to stay calm. Again, if fear takes over, your choices, your number of choices are drastically diminished. So you really seriously need to stay calm and stay balanced. Part of that is to have a plan, because if I have a plan, why do I need to worry about something? If I have a plan and I'm planning for what's coming, and I have a solution already identified, then there's no reason to worry, or at least not as you shouldn't worry as much, because you already know the potential outcomes of what could happen, so you know what to do and how to do it. Okay. The fear and the worry are going to come in if you're not ready, if you don't know what to do, if you don't know where you're going to go, if you don't know what you need in order to survive. That's what we want to try to prevent. We want you to focus on identifying those things that potentially could happen, what resources that you would need to get through these, and then what skills that you're going to need. Resources includes, food, water, shelter, but it also includes clothing, tools, utensils that you'll need. So this is the time before something happens that you sit down and you think logically, what is it that I need? What do I need to do? And then how can I accomplish it? You need to figure out what it is that you already have, and then start putting these things together. That's why this bag is important. If something such as this wildfire or a flood comes in, or any of 1,000 other things that can cause you to have to leave an area quickly, having these things in one location, it just takes a few seconds. I grab what I need and I get out of Dodge. Okay, and then I head to the location that I know I'll be safe. But the time to figure this out is now, not after the fact. If you're waiting on assistance from external sources, i.e. the government, some relief agency, you may be waiting a very long time. And if all of this stuff culminates at one time, um, those people are going to be overwhelmed, and they may not be able to help you. So then what are you going to do? Um, Being self-reliant, self-sustaining is something that is basically your responsibility. You need to do. And I know people may not want to hear that. They may just turn off my channel. But that's fine. I cannot help you if you don't want to help yourself. But I will do the best I can to help you. But I can't do it for you. Nobody can do it for you. And you shouldn't expect anybody to be doing this for you. This is your responsibility. And that's, I think, part of what's going on in the world today is some folks don't want to take that responsibility. But, you know, you are the first line of defense against, or for your protection and for your safety. And if you're a parent, husband, wife, whatever, you are responsible for those within your family, you know, your children. You know, I also want to try to take care of, you know, my extended family, my brothers, my sisters, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. So while they're not necessarily my responsibility, my safety of my children are, even though they have, you know, their own homes, they live in their own places, but they're still my responsibility as far as I'm concerned. So I do my best to help to try to take care of them as well. They know what they should do, but again, I can't do it for them. I can't make them go to where we can be safe. That's up to them. Same with you. I can't make you go to someplace safe. I can't make you get food, water, and shelter enough to take care of those that you care about and yourself. But I can, as I'm doing here and on my blogs and my posts on the various social medias, I can implore you to do these things. I can help teach you if you don't know how. I know these things, but I can't make you do any of this. Nobody can, only you. So I ask that you right now sit down or, you know, contact us and work on a plan, have a written plan that you rehearse. Create a survival bag of some kind, whatever you want to call it, bug out bag, get home bag, survival bag, emergency bag, whatever you want to call it. And there are some specific things that should be in there that will help you to get through various circumstances. There are some situations in which you will probably need additional resources that would not be or may not be in this bag. I highly recommend that you get a book. If you want recommendations, I have a couple that I like, that I have that are part of my kit, if you will, that have information on edible plants and plants that are good for medical purposes. In the case of some situations, there may not be medical facilities, so they may be overwhelmed, and you know they may not have things that will be able to that you'll be able to use and help. So one of the assumptions that I would strongly recommend that you include in your plan is that you will not be able to get external or you will not be able to get assistance from external resources. In the case of a financial collapse, stores are going to be basically wiped out. I mean, if Atlanta, Georgia has a snowflake in the forecast, you can't buy a loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, or a gallon of milk within 1,000 miles of Atlanta, Georgia. So Can you imagine what that's going to be like if the financial system in which everybody purchases things collapses, and you can't purchase it anyway because you have no money? But stores only hold or basically maintain about a 3-day stock. So 3 days worth of food, um, if something happens like this, those shelves are going to look like a ghost town. Um, there won't be anything left on the shelves. So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to, make this sound something that more than it is. But with all of the indicators that are in the news, whether it's alternative news or the mainstream news, a lot of folks have concerns about the falling price of oil, the strong dollar. All of these indicators are talking about a financial collapse. So I implore you, that is definitely one plan that you should at least create. Now, the good thing about some of these plans, that especially a plan that would incorporate the financial collapse, other emergencies, the same resources, the same skill sets that you need to handle a financial collapse would apply to other emergencies. So having a financial collapse plan, there are other emergencies that that the skills and resources that you would use during a financial collapse would apply to. So it's not like it's a one plan fits all. But there are a lot of overlap. There is a lot of overlap, and there are a lot of things that would help you with other situations in which you might find yourself. Okay, so have a plan. Focus on food, water, shelter first. Focus on the resources and skills that you need. Focus on evaluating the dangers, pros and cons of where you are currently. Focus on a alternate location, so do a site selection for some other locations that potentially you could get to and go to. Stay calm, stay balanced, and just be ready. One other key thing, in case you haven't seen some of the videos about doing a plan, the plan needs to include the trigger. What event, what situation, what circumstance is going to trigger the execution of this plan? Okay, that's important as well. You don't wait till the fire is at your front door in case of a wildfire before you try to get out of there. Okay, if the fire gets within, 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, depending on where you are and what you're doing and the circumstances and where your evacuation routes potentially are, don't wait till that fire is so close that you cannot get away from where you are. You will not survive a wildfire. If you're in a building, your odds of survival are fairly slim. Can you do it? Potentially, yeah. But I would say that everything around you is going to be burned. And even if you do survive the fire itself, you're not going to have anything left to survive on after the fact. So that applies also to folks who have, their own farms and stuff. A lot of people think, well, I'm good. I'm self-sustaining. I'm off the grid. I don't have this and that. Yeah, you are. That's a good place to be. But if a wildfire comes through and burns everything out, then what? So focus on evaluating where you are. What are the risks? what are the pros, and then what is your plan if something should happen and you have to evacuate that site. Okay, so tomorrow I'm going to try to talk about how to establish a camp, some of the things that you would go through. You have to leave where you are, and you're going to go into a field environment, if you will, to the forest and stuff. We'll talk about the procedures and things that you should do. This is going to be especially true if it's a long-term kind of stuff, it's the fan kind of scenario. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Again, please subscribe to the channel if you're, enjoy these things. We try to keep them short and informative. We try to stay out of the politics and weird stuff, all the conspiracy stuff. There's enough of that going on out there. We try to give you solid information, things that will help you get through any type of situation. You can contact me at guy@greatlivingsources.com. You can go to the website. We have a lot of information on our website, which is greatlivingsources.com. You can leave comments on this YouTube channel. You can go to our Facebook page. I have one from my books, GL Sky, which is my pen name, and I also have a Facebook page for Great Living Sources. Look us up, friend us. We post a lot of stuff on there. We try to help give you some information that will help you in these types of situations. So, but let us know if there's a subject that you would like us or a topic that you'd like us to cover. Let us know that as well. Let us know what you think about the YouTubes and the blogs and stuff. Let us know, what you like, what you may not like. We will try to, present it in such a manner that it is informative, but also that, something that you can listen to. All right. So remember the core calm, stay balanced, stay, calm. The calmer you can remain during a situation such as these, which are high stress, high fear, the better your chances of making it through. So hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. So thanks again for watching, and you guys stay safe.